Thanks for joining us today. I'm Roland Boyden for 545 Live on BCTV. I'm joined by Town Manager Barb Sondag and Fire Chief Mike Bucossi. Thanks for coming in last minute to talk about this storm we've got coming up. As we progress through the weekend here, we'll keep playing more video and get more updates on our channel as well. Let's start with this storm itself. So obviously anytime I hear rain now because of Irene, everybody's a little on edge, and certainly, you know, people are calling this storm Frankenstorm and things like that. I think it's easy to kind of get nervous around this. What are the realities of this storm from this area as we know right now anyway?
Well, with the storm in general, you know, it does have the potential for becoming a very large storm. And so that means that, you know, no matter how the storm is tracking, it's going to could cover a very wide area. And so we are now, you know, feeling that we're going to have some impact from the storm. We are not sure what or how much. This is a different storm from Irene. I know Irene's still very much on the top of everyone's minds. This is a different than that. We are anticipating more wind, higher gusts. We're anticipating, you know, there'll be rain. We're not sure how much. But the other thing that's different is we've had much more rain this year, previous weeks, than prior to Irene. That means our water tables, you know, is pretty high, ground saturated. That's a bad thing so we were unable to absorb as much rain as maybe we did with Irene. The other thing is that, you know, we're anticipating with high winds, saturated land, that there could be more uprooted trees, power lines down, roads closed because of, you know, blockages, those types of things. So, you know, our message today is everybody needs to prepare for Sandy's arrival. You know, it's not safe to say, well, I wasn't impacted by Irene, so I should be safe in this one. We should be prepared for power outages. We should be prepared for road closures, those types of things.
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about what people can do, and then maybe talk a little bit about things they shouldn't do. There were a lot of, you know, people out driving in areas where they shouldn't be driving during Irene, trying to get through places that had already been marked as being closed. But let's start with what people can do to prepare for this.
Sure. I think the biggest thing right now is to be prepared. Again, they're not forecasting possibly as much rain as Irene, but we're going to be looking at some serious winds. Right now is what they're telling us. Anything that can be propelled by the wind, lawn furniture, anything like that, either bring it in, secure it, so it doesn't become a flying object. Prepare your home and your family, bottled water, some extra groceries, non-perishable foods, batteries for flashlights. One of the things that we truly want to caution and remind people, have flashlights and lanterns. Don't rely on candles. It becomes a safety issue. We don't want anybody to needlessly get hurt in this storm. Also, prepare for long power outages. People have home generators. Make sure that they're used safely. Make sure that they're not in a garage or in a confined space where the carbon monoxide is coming into your living areas. And also, you know, as silly as it may sound, we've even had people using barbecue grills with wood inside their house for light and heat. You know, again, common sense comes into play here. Just be safe. Take care of your families.
Let's move on and talk a little bit about what the town is doing and how people can utilize what the town is doing, and in terms of being prepared, or, you know, post-storm as well.
Okay. Right now we are in kind of high mode for preparations. We met yesterday. We did some listen to the weather forecast. We also had a long meeting with regard to what do we need to do As the town, we have our public works director today. They're focusing on storm drains. You're going to see they're going to be out with storm drains. We're asking people, if there's a storm drain in front of your home, make sure that the leaves are gone, because that will help reduce the flooding. Again, this is, a lot of leaves are down. Make sure they're not blocking things, because that could increase your flooding chances. We are also doing, we have meetings scheduled this afternoon with the other emergency responders that we work with, the Red Cross, Connecticut River Transit, the hospital, the schools, the, missing someone I know, Vermont Emergency Management, and we're meeting today to do our coordination plan. And so that we'll be prepared for, if we need to open a shelter, we'll be prepared to do that. We'll be prepared. We had a lot of lessons learned with Irene. I think we did a great job of responding, but at the same time, we were able to pick up on a lot of things that we can improve on. And really, that's our focus right now. We're going through our after-action review from Irene and saying, "Ooh, wait, that was an issue. How are we going to prevent it from being an issue this time?" And trying to be much more proactive. We've started. I think public service announcements went out, started yesterday. We'll be updating those throughout the day. We'll continue to use the Brattleboro Emergency Notification System, or the BEN system. If people want to, we're going to be updating. We have a special section on the town website, brattleboro.org, that has not only updates on Sandy, but also the preparedness information that the chief was just talking about. So if people want to get on there, go to the website. It's also where you can register for those reverse phone calls, those notification calls. Go ahead, sign up. We want as many people as possible signed up for that. We've been in communication with the chamber, with the Building a Better Brattleboro, with the West Brattleboro Association, trying to get businesses prepared, making sure that they're aware. The Wyndham Regional Commission, Chris Campany, the executive director over there, just sent out, an email as well, reminding people that if you had damage from Irene that you have repairs on, go out, take pictures of your property today, so that if you do have damage from this storm, hopefully not, but if you do have damage from this storm, you've clearly shown the fact that this is new damage. It will help with your insurance claims. It will help with if we have to do a FEMA again. But those are suggestions that we're giving both businesses and residents at this point. We are working on acquiring more sandbags. Typically, we get those from the state. There's a little hiccup with that at this point, but as I said, the Public Works Director Steve Barrett's is working on that, and we hope to have more information out to people on that today. And also, we're trying to figure out how we might be able to, if we need volunteers to help fill bags, we'll be working on trying to coordinate something like that. So ask people to stay tuned for those messages.
If people are interested in, on the reverse end, offering help to others as opposed to getting help, doing any volunteering, where can they contact folks to do that?
At this point, it's a little bit early for us to say that. As far as the town's preparation goes, we're really kind of in high gear and getting ourselves organized. But there were a number of businesses that needed help before. They may need help in preparation. This is kind of that awkward time where you're just waiting. Your anxiety's high. You're looking for something to do, and unfortunately, we're kind of in this holding pattern. As we try to figure out, well, what's the storms? What are we going to get? And again, how's it going to look? But make sure if you have neighbors, as the chief was saying, we're expecting wind. Make sure you're checking on those neighbors. Make sure if you have an elderly couple that have things on their porch, help them bring them in. Make sure you have plans for your animals. At this point, what people should be first focusing on: am I ready? And then move on. And how can I help my neighbor?
Terrific.
I think that one of the things that we ran into during Irene was we get the most up-to-date and current weather reports that we possibly can. We're in constant contact with the National Weather Service, either by phone, by email, and we've been closely monitoring this thing. We react to what we're getting from them. Hopefully the storm will go below us and we'll get very little impact from it. But during Irene, we had some problems during early evacuations and such. And I think it's important for people to understand, even though they feel as though they may be safe, that we have reasons to evacuate certain areas according to the information we're getting. And we would ask that, help us out in the beginning when we do a precautionary evacuation early before the storm. They don't see the danger, but they're helping us so we can concentrate our efforts somewhere else during the storm with people that may need it, that didn't anticipate it at that time.
I appreciate you both coming in on short notice and getting this information out. And again, we'll try and get some information along the bottom of our screen as well. Sure. Check in with BCTV. Brattleboro.org is where you can find more information. And I believe WTSA is your emergency partner. So any last words of caution, encouragement, anything like that before we wrap up for folks out there trying to button down for this one?
I think the chief really said it. Take precautions that you can do, and then right before the storm, during the storm, listen to the folks on the road. Listen to those firefighters and the police officers when if a road's closed. Be careful. Again, water. We now water's covering the road. You don't know how high it is. So do some of those common sense things, and I think we'll be able to get through this okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming in.
Great.
Stay tuned.